Have you guys ever heard of the terminology sibling rivalry? Because I'm going to tell you, I've actually lived through this experience with my brother. Shout out to my brother. I love him. But I'm going to tell y'all, we love each other, but we did not like each other. I'm going to just be real about that. I'm going to say it again. We loved each other, but we did not like each other. We fought. We punched. We threatened. We did a lot of things really, really bad. I regret it now. But at the same time, I guess I can kind of see how a spoiled, sour relationship with siblings can turn into something very horrible. But this is bad. I feel sorry for the father. I feel sorry for that young lady and her kid, okay? Let me give you guys the fair usage. I'm just saying, basically, I was like, you know what? I can kind of relate to this a little bit. Not to this extent, but just a little bit. The following video may contain some offensive language, so it might not be appropriate. So keep that in mind that this is intended for mature audiences. Lady of Mommy of Three, take it away. Let's get it.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
And I am getting this story from a website. I guess I can give you guys the link to it. It is 2fab.com. It's usually not the type of website I like to go to, but what they do is they go and collect the information and kind of make it more comprehensive. So I thought this one was a good article to read from, so shout out to them. So, a young woman in Fresno, California has been given 2 life sentences in prison, while her boyfriend will spend more than 2 decades behind bars after she was found guilty of killing her 18-year-old sister. Yanelli, which is spelled Yanelly, like Ya and then Nelly, Solorio-Rivera, and her 3-week-old niece, Celine Solorio-Rivera, in their sleep. Wow. And that's about as heinous and cowardice as it gets for you to attack someone in their sleep. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but that makes you very, very cowardice. You can't even stand a person who's conscious. You did it while they were asleep and unaware. That's heinous. That's very heinous. That's that fool right there. The jury did not buy this narrative, finding Solorio-Rivera guilty on 2 counts of murder. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I skipped a small little part here. My bad. Prosecutors in the case against Solorio-Rivera, 25 years old, have long argued that in 2022, the 2022 double murder was a case of jealousy and sibling rivalry. But her defense attorney, Curtis Sock, argued in court she is not an evil, cold killer. This was done out of love for her children, for the safety of her children, claiming that Yanelli used to threaten them. The jury did not buy this narrative, finding Solorio-Rivera guilty on 2 counts of murder. Martin Arroyo-Morales, 29 years old, I guess that's her boyfriend. Not her boyfriend. I think he's right there. 29 years old, who prosecutors successfully argued helped his girlfriend plan the murders, was sentenced to 22 years for 2 counts of voluntary manslaughter. He reached a plea deal with the state that dismissed murder charges. So again, planning, that means you thought it out. You could absolutely get murdered for that. In court for the sentencing on Wednesday was the father of both the victim and the defendant. So the dad of both of them girls was there. And through a translator, he said, "I come here to accompany my daughter today." He said the blame for his younger daughter's death falls firmly on Arroyo-Morales. So he's blaming that man. That's the father of the girls that got into it. I believe you're making the wrong decision. You and the DA, when they want to send my daughter to life or to send my daughter to jail for life, why did they write it like this? When he is the one guilty of all of this, he insisted in court. That's generally why I don't read from websites like this. I'm sorry, but they wrote some things wrong. Sorry. I know you're trying to do what's right, but as a father, I already lost one daughter, and I do not want to lose another just because somebody got away with it. Neither defendant said a word during their court appearance, and no one spoke on behalf of the victims. Sock told the news that Solorio-Rivera does have remorse. Yes, she has remorse. She's very sorry, and she knows she could have done better. Judge Brian Alvarez, however, showed no hesitation in handing down the life sentence, declaring in court, she will never be on parole, and she will die in prison. She is facing the death penalty until she changed her plea from not guilty to no contest. Mr. Solorio is going to be losing 2 daughters today, and that's a very, very strong statement. She made a deal with the state, and the court is going to follow through with that. She avoided a potential death penalty, Alvarez added. Solorio-Rivera and Arroyo-Morales, which is the boyfriend, were arrested on November the 9th of 2022, 2 months after the tragic deaths of Yaneli and her baby daughter. We can now say with complete certainty that we have those responsible for this homicide in custody, according to the chief police, Paco Balderrama, said in a press conference. We have the murder weapon, a Smith & Wesson 9mm. Do I have that picture? Let me show y'all that. Because that gun was filthy nasty looking. I don't know if I have it in here. You'll see it, I think, in the news video. I don't have it on here. I only got a couple pictures on here. So it was a Smith & Wesson 9mm handgun, and we have a motive, jealousy and sibling rivalry. The last few days, they were detained, said Chief Balderrama. The lies, the deception, and the evil intentions surrounding this case began to unravel. After the boyfriend was identified as being the man in the video, authorities released of the person of interest spotted on surveillance footage near the time and place of the shootings. He later admitted to police as part of his confession, and this according to Law and Crime, so shout out to them, that he had been in the house and part of the planning behind the killings. He also said that Solorio-Rivera gave him the gun after the shooting. They were interviewed by homicide detectives, and at which time they confessed to the crime and led to detectives to the whereabouts of the murder weapon. Police initially responded to a report of multiple gunshots inside a residence on Saturday, September 24th, around 7:20 in the morning. When they arrived, they entered the bedroom and found both Yaneli and her infant daughter suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. They were pronounced dead at the scene. Balderrama said authorities believed the young mother was sleeping and holding onto her daughter when she was shot multiple times, so she was asleep, with at least one of the shots hitting the baby. There were no signs of forced entry into the home, and the older sister was at the home at the time of their deaths, along with multiple other family members, according to the news. Police said that her boyfriend was let in and that he fled after the shooting. We saw no remorse whatsoever, no guilt, no apprehension. I've never seen something like this, and that's according to Balderrama. The next year, in May of 2023, the news released video footage of Solorio-Rivera's taped confession where she admitted to killing her own sister that was played at the hearing in front of her sister's entire family. In the clip, the defendant was asked by the detective, in the clip, the defendant was asked by the detective, can you show me how you were pointing it? They said, who? I think they meant show. Can you show me how you were pointing it? As she was holding a mock gun. Like this, she replied, pointing the gun. I was like this, probably like that. Did you mean to shoot her in the face? She was asked. Did I mean to shoot her? The detective reiterated, in the face, and she replied, yes. The lead detective on the case, Justin Baroni, also took the stand at that hearing, telling the court they had a strained relationship at the time and they used to be good friends. Adding at one point, the police were called to the house and police took a firearm from Yaneli that she had purchased because it was of Yanelli. I don't know what the hell that even said. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. They wrote this there's a lot of typos in here, so I'm sorry about that. Court documents presented in the 2023 hearing revealed that Solorio-Rivera allegedly told police that she was jealous of the attention her younger sister got and her newborn daughter, and she wanted that attention for herself and her own children. Sounds like a motive to me. We see a lot of violence in Fresno. Typically, it's risky behavior or gangsters shooting each other. To a certain degree, you expect that violence, but you don't expect it from your own sister, and you certainly don't expect it against a 3-year-old baby. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about this whole sibling rivalry thing. I feel bad for the father of both of those girls. But yeah, I mean, it's just, he's trying to argue to not get a murder conviction for a daughter who killed his other daughter. That's a weird place to be in. But thank you for your donation. Shout out to Lasagna Lemonade Logic. Show some love in the super chat. Appreciate you. And Maria said AFC Rocks. Thank you very much. And Jimmy D, I appreciate you guys. Link is in the description box. If anybody else wants to join them and donate to the channel and show some love, here we go.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
To be real with y'all, I'm a father and I got daughters damn near these women's age, and I kind of understand where the father is coming from. But at the same time, that's not really a fair argument. You can't make that argument for what she did, and she has to suffer in punishment for what she did, including her terrible ass boyfriend. So leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about this sibling rivalry. Here we go. Let's get it. Only got a couple news videos.
Solorio-Rivera getting 2 life sentences today without the possibility of parole for the murders of her sister Yanelli and her infant niece, as her boyfriend, 29-year-old Martin Arroyo-Morales, gets 22 years for voluntary manslaughter. But inside the courtroom, it was the father of these sisters making the plea that Arroyo-Morales should have a longer sentence.
Yo creo que están tomando una mala decisión.
He is the one guilty of all of this. I know that you're trying to do what's right, but as a father, I already lost one daughter, and I do not want to lose another one just because someone got away with it.
A desperate plea from the father of sisters, 25-year-old Solorio-Rivera and 18-year-old Yanelli Solorio-Rivera, and grandfather of 3-week-old Celine, to shift blame to Ureli's boyfriend, 29-year-old Martin Arroyo-Morales. That attempt failing.
She will never be on parole. She will die in prison.
Judge Brian Alvarez sentencing her to 2 life sentences for shooting and killing the young mother and infant in their sleep at their Fresno home on September 24th, 2022.
So Mr. Solorio is going to be losing 2 daughters today. She made a deal with the state, and the court's going to follow through with that state, and she avoided a potential death penalty.
Arroyo-Morales, identified in surveillance video near the home in 2022, also reaching a plea deal for a dismissal of murder charges, was sentenced to 22 years in prison for 2 counts of voluntary manslaughter. Back then, authorities said the couple planned to kill Yanelli and her daughter with the motive being jealousy and sibling rivalry. But today, Ureli's defense, speaking on her behalf, claimed Yanelli threatened her own young children, pushing her to commit the horrific crime.
Yanelli used to threaten them, to drag them on the field, and Yareli was very concerned about safety of her children. But I just want public to understand that my client is very remorseful for what had happened, and she's not such an evil, cold killer. This was done out of love for her children, for the safety of her children.
Both Solorio-Rivera and Arroyo-Morales are being transferred to state prisons, and once again, Solorio-Rivera is not eligible for parole. Reporting here in downtown Fresno, Ben Morris, KC24, local news that matters.
A Valley couple who admitted to killing a young mother and her 3-week-old baby has learned their punishment. Action News reporter Gabe Ferris was in the courtroom today as the end of this tragic case unfolded.
A complicated and deadly family drama that unraveled in Fresno courtrooms for years, coming to an end Wednesday.
I would have to say that this is a complete family tragedy.
A judge sentencing Solorio-Rivera for 2 counts of murder. At just 25, she's now set to spend 2 life sentences in prison.
She made a deal with the state, and the court's going to follow through with that state, and she avoided a potential death penalty.
Prosecutors say in 2022, Solorio-Rivera shot and killed her 18-year-old sister Yaneli and then her sister's infant daughter, who was just 3 weeks old. Solorio-Rivera's attorney telling us she reached a breaking point after Yaneli threatened her own kids.
And she's not such an evil, cold killer. This was done out of love for her children, for the safety of her children.
But investigators have long painted a much different picture. They say the woman was filled with jealousy toward her sister and the newborn and worked with her boyfriend, Martin Arroyo-Morales, to plan the murders. He will now serve 22 years for voluntary manslaughter.
They confessed to the crime and led detectives to the whereabouts of the murder weapon.
With the victim's family also being the defendant's family, a striking moment in court as Solorio-Rivera's father showed up to support her.
El juez y la fiscal, yo creo.
I come here to accompany my daughter today.
The father putting the blame squarely on the boyfriend.
Cuando el culpable está aquí.
I believe that you are making the wrong decision, you and the DA, when they want to send my daughter for life to jail when he is the one guilty of all of this.
There was nobody in court to speak on behalf of the two young victims, the two defendants never saying a word.
Does your client have any remorse for what happened?
Yes, she has remorse. She's very sorry. She knows she could have done better.
And with this case never going to trial, much of the evidence will be sealed. The end of it all coming nearly 3 years and 1 month to the day.
Investigators arrested the victim's older sister and that sister's boyfriend. Action News reporter Corin Hoggard shows us how police finally broke this case wide open.
If y'all are watching this video, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up and share this. I know I say it all the time. If you smash that thumbs up, even if you're watching on the TV, you can hit the up button, hit over, and you can select the thumbs up. That'll help us out if y'all could do that. Here we go.
Yaneli Solorio-Rivera was shot and killed as she slept in her bed, holding her 3-week-old daughter, Celine. The shooter also killed the baby girl. More than 5 weeks later, police had made no arrests, so they released surveillance video of a potential suspect. When investigators identified him, they realized they talked to one of the alleged murderers at the Southwest Fresno home where mother and child were killed.
And that is when the lies, the deception, and the evil intentions surrounding this case began to unravel.
Police say the guy in the surveillance video is Martin Arroyo-Morales. His girlfriend is Yareli Solorio-Rivera, the 22-year-old sister of Yaneli. Fresno Police Chief Paco Balderrama says the couple cracked under questioning by detectives.
And at which time they confessed to the crime and led detectives to the whereabouts of the murder weapon.
The chief says Solorio-Rivera was filled with jealousy towards her little sister. He says Arroyo-Morales is a validated gang member. Together, he says they planned the murders and how to get away with them.
This was their plan all along, and they thought it worked until it started unraveling on them.
Police say the couple showed no remorse, even after confessing. Prosecutors say they'll file a double murder case against both suspects, and the charges will include the special circumstances that they committed multiple murders.
The special circumstances murder brings about the penalty of life without the possibility of parole or the potential of the death penalty.
Both suspects are in custody with bail set at $2 million. They're expected in court Monday for arraignment. Corin Hoggard, ABC 30, Action News.
And I want to kind of show you guys kind of the contrast with certain stories. You see how the 18-year-old in Oklahoma is potentially getting off from the horrific things that he did, and they took it way, way too light. And then with this story, you're going really, really, really hard in the paint because I think it's deservingly correct. That's the correct decision in this case. And I just hate to see that justice is not consistent. That's the word I'm looking for. A lot of times when I'm looking at these stories, it doesn't seem like justice is very consistent. And I agree with you in the chat. Who was that said that? That was Genevieve. I have to agree with you. You said that the dad is in denial. He is 100% in denial. Sorry, bro. There's no way in hell I would ask for my murderous daughter to get out of prison. Not doing it. Not even close. Would have at least let her serve some time. But again, that's a parent's love. What can you really say about that? But thank you guys so much for listening to this story with an open mind. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Did they get this right? What would you do as a parent? Because again, I'm about the age of being able to have daughters his daughter's age. Let me know what you think.